Greetings everyone, and I hope you're all doing great. Today we're going to be building this monstrosity of a water slide. So let's get straight into it. So I already placed down the platform, and here you can see me working on the near vertical drop that's going to go straight down and get our ride goers up to speed. Now I was wanting originally to make this have a giant loop, but it seems that Planet Coaster 2 has only presets for loops and only certain sizes, which is fair enough. So you can see me here playing around, seeing if I can get something to work. And that's definitely not going to work, so let's undo that. And let's play around a little bit more, see if we can come back here. Maybe perhaps we can, no, that's the biggest we can get. So back to the drawing board, I think. But I haven't lost hope. At this point, I think let's do a huge ramp upwards. The intention being launching our ride goers straight into the sky, flying through the air with a pool at the end that'll hopefully catch them. So let's get to testing. So here I've activated the test mode. We can see where the test dummy is landing, and we can place a pool into that location. Now I'm going to start off with a square tile, and I'm going to slightly make it a rectangular shape and round off the corners. But then I'm going to edit the pool so that I can grab onto those nodes, stretch it out a bit and make it slightly wider just in case any of the guests deviate from the target pool. And I'm rounding off the corners again just to keep that nice pill shape. And I wasn't a fan of the tiles, so you can see me going in with the path brush, trying out a few different textures. Noticing also that I removed the fences from the edges. And at first I think I'm going to stick with this gravel texture to make it look like sand, but in the end we settle again for tile. So it's looking a little bit boring, so I think I'm going to have a look at some lights and add some lighting to the area, just because I think if we can make it look nice at dusk or nighttime, then it will look quite atmospheric as people are flying through the air, landing into the pool. And you can see me here changing the colours to make sure that all the lights are multiple colours, just to add a bit of interest. Now moving back to our trusty scenery brush, and I'm going to go again for some tropical plants. I try some rocks at first, but it doesn't seem to look too good. So we go back to our trusty tropical plants, and we try to make this look like some sort of Amazon forest. As people are flying through the air, they're going to be skipping over these trees, because why not? As they're flying through the air, they get a beautiful view at the same time, wondering where they're going to land. And now that we're finished with that, I move our attention to the actual slide. I'm not a huge fan of the colour scheme, so I change it to black, and we make the stairs also black. And at this point I noticed that the stairs only go a certain height. It's a shame they don't reach the floor, so now we have some more work. I'm now going to have to create a custom path that goes all the way down to the floor so that our guests can actually ride this flume and that we can properly test it out. So I'm just going to create a very simple spiral staircase going all the way down that our guests have to climb. Nothing too special at this point. You can see me struggling here with the path tool. It looks like those vertical lines, once aligned with the ground, mean that it should be level with the surface, but for some reason it was going underneath the surface and creating a trench. But we got it sorted, so we started moving some of the foliage out of the way so it's not obstructing the path for our guests. And once that's done, we're going to come back to our pool, and our guests need to be able to access it, so let's create a path to the main pathway. Move again some more foliage. And let's customize that path with a nice cobblestone pathway. And let's move more foliage out of the way so that our guests can get through. In the top left, you're probably seeing I'm getting loads of notifications and warnings. So I decided to put some safety guards in place. So let's get a lifeguard watch on duty so that any guests are not drowning. And we're going to need some more facilities at the other pools, so I'm going to come in and get some changing rooms and possibly also a dryer and maybe some food and drink vendors as well, because I was getting a bit tired of getting the notifications saying that my guests are not happy. So I thought I better keep them happy by putting a few options for food and drink dotted around the park. Of course, this isn't a serious playthrough of Planet Coaster 2. I'm playing in creative mode, so I'm just creating some crazy wacky rides for the time being, just to get myself used to the game, but also seeing what the new game is capable of that Frontier have created. Moving on, I realised we did a test of the ride, but we've had no guests test the water slide, and I want to make sure that they're going to hit the target pool, and I didn't want to get too far ahead in designing this if it wasn't going to work. So you'll see me increase the game speed, and now we've just got to wait for a willing volunteer who's going to test this slide out for us. So they're going to climb those enormous stairs, and now we just have to wait. And here comes our first test subject. And here he goes down the slide. Let's see, does he land in the pool? Yes, right on the mark. We know our water slide works, so how can we make it more enticing, more thrilling? Well, how about a giant ring of fire that you fly through? Now, let's see what we can find here in the scenery objects, and I can see a rubber ring, but I don't think that's going to be big enough. However, I do come across this giant ring for a splash effect, so let's rotate that, get it into position. We've paused a guest mid-air so that we can get the correct positioning, and looking under scenery again, we can find this flame effect, but you'll notice the splash effect is also interfering, so in a minute we turn that off. There we go. And now let's start by duplicating this fire effect around the ring. So I'm just going to do it very simply, just duplicate around the edge. There are quicker ways of doing it, but this way will suffice. And we come in looking for some more flame effects, because I don't think actually the flames are big enough. And there we go, we dot around a few more giant flames. So I think that's looking pretty good as it is. Now currently it's just floating in midair, which I don't think is very good. So we put a pillar support in place. And then we're going to look for some more scenery objects so that we can actually fix it to the ground and make it look like it's a feasible object in the sky, compared to an object defying the laws of gravity. Now we have the positioning correct, we just again duplicate a couple of times until we hit solid ground. Time to duplicate the other side. And there we have it, a death-defying water slide, perfect for any extreme thrill-seeking enthusiast. That's all from me, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.